Hello, my beautiful co-creators. Lilou here. I'm interviewing today an amazing lady. She is the best-selling author of The Mayan Code and has written so many books, including also The Alchemy of the Ninth Dimension. She has tremendous knowledge, information. She's hard to reach, but she's with us today. And I have so many questions to ask her about the Mayan calendar. Her name is Barbara Hand Clow, and she is a Mayan elder, a record keeper, international best-selling author of the Mayan Code, and I'm just thrilled. And I want to ask her, what is going on right now, and why are we in this such crucial time? What can we do? How can we understand the different dimensions? Why are they even important for us to know? And what is holding us back from creating this shift? How can we understand better this time acceleration? What is really going on? What kind of tools can we use? And how can we open ourselves up to this new way of being, to this new world that is emerging? So without any further ado, here is Barbara. So hello, Barbara.
Hi, Lilou.
Why is it important for us to know what the Mayan calendar reveals about what's happening right now in the world?
Well, we're coming to a critical point in the calendar, as most listeners know, which is the end of the calendar. And in Carl Kalaman's case, he believes this is October 28th, 2011, and I'm in agreement with him. And then there are a lot of other people who are working with 2012. And so as far as Carl's work is concerned, the Mayan calendar actually describes the processes of evolution that have been going on since the beginning of time. And now we're coming to the point where we're coming to the end of this phase of our experience, which has to do with us being able to move to a very, very high state of consciousness. So this is a really exciting time, and as we know, Kalaman has asked us to pay attention to a ceremony that he's calling for this weekend on July 17th and 18th called Conscious Convergence.
Yes.
And the reason that he's calling for this is that we've reached the point now where we're getting close enough to the opening of the ninth wave, which happens to be in March 9th, 2011. So we're getting really close to the point where you could say all of the evolutionary ways of consciousness are going to download simultaneously in about 6 or 7 months, which is, of course, extremely hard to imagine. One of the things I really love about Dr. Kalaman's work is that he has come up with such an incredible, explanation for time acceleration. And the time acceleration has affected me personally so much that I really resonate with him. And the most recent time acceleration that we've all lived through is January 1999. And in my life, things literally just started going at warp speed. And of course, back in those days, I discovered Kalaman in 2005. And so I had no idea what was going on. And so out of respect for what I experienced in 99 and a lot of other people did, I think we've got to take this issue of the ninth wave extremely seriously, because supposedly the ninth wave is going to be 20 times more intense than what we were experiencing in 99, which is almost, at least for me, it's almost inconceivable to imagine that.
Yeah, so how can we prepare for something we don't even know what it's going to be and feel like?
It's certainly something we've never experienced before. One of the reasons that I wrote the Mayan Code, and the specific reason that I wrote it, was that I felt I had something special to contribute from my own work. The Mayan Code, of course, is a description of Kalaman's theory, and it's also a description of my own work. But in particular, I've done a lot of research and written a book about the 100,000-year phase, which is called the regional underworld. And the regional underworld is a 100,000-year years long, and it culminates in 2011. And because I had written a whole book about the regional underworld, I felt I had a special contribution to make to Kalaman's research. And so at this point, as we're getting closer and closer to the ninth wave is very much in resonance with the regional underworld. The regional underworld is the fifth wave of evolution. And so because I understand the regional underworld very well, I feel like I have maybe a little bit more of a feeling for what it's going to be like starting in March of 2011. But we are much more conscious. We're much more developed at this point. We have gone through the sixth wave, which is the national underworld, which is the historical development of human consciousness for the last 5,000 years. We've already gone through most of the seventh wave, which is the underworld that starts in 1755, and this is the development of industry on our planet. And then, of course, the eighth wave that started in 1999 is the evolution of technology. So we're different people than we were 100,000 years ago.
Yes.
Which is that period is the Paleolithic phase in human consciousness, and that's the period when we discovered art and discovered spirituality and discovered, as far as I'm concerned, in my own research, some very high levels of culture. I differ pretty significantly from a lot of historians regarding the last 100,000 years. I actually feel that we were quite evolved and quite highly developed around 25,000 years ago. So I differ a little bit. But otherwise, I pretty much am in agreement with what biologists and historians would say. And so because I'm in touch with that high consciousness that we had 20,000 years ago, I feel like I can understand what it's going to feel like next year. But we've got to add all that complexity of history and industry and technology to that. We're just profoundly different people at this point.
Yeah, and it seems like there's a lot for a lot of us. A lot of things are holding us back from really feeling that. And one of the things that you're saying is that we're going to start to understand. One of the biggest shifts is we're going to start to understand first who's really controlling us, so that then we can gain a clearing. I mean, we can have. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, and we've been in the middle of that on a radical level since 1999, because 1999 has been like a kind of like a mixer, as being a woman and liking to cook. And it has been like a mixer that's been stirring up the whole 5,000-year historical phase and then the 256-year industrial phase. So regarding the patriarchy and regarding the global elite and regarding all those control processes, those have been they're been in the middle of being shaken out since 1999. And where we really see that is that the number of people on the planet now who know what the bankers are up to and what the politicians are up to and what BP is up to, the number of people who really know what these people are doing is very high at this point. And they're not going to be able to function as they have been once people figure out the way they play the game. So that whole kind of change has actually been going on for 10 to 11 years. But this other level of change that's coming in, it is what I think I know I'm trying to get a hold of. And going back to the regional underworld, the 100,000-year phase, the only thing that I've seen in modern culture that describes that period of time for me is Avatar. In other words, a movie came through to us 4 or 5 or 6 months ago that actually does give us a way of understanding that 100,000-year-long regional consciousness. And so I think the fact that that movie came in at that point, I think that was a key shift when Avatar showed up, because that was the first opportunity that millions and millions of people had to really resonate with the regional underworld. Because, you know. And so I think what is it about Avatar? Well, it's about people being in oneness with their environment. It's about people expressing the planetary level of consciousness through the way they live day to day and through the way they build their village and through the way they work with the world tree, which was such a powerful image in that movie. So I think that gives us a little sense of what we're going into. And then the other question would be, regarding my own work, I have a new edition of Alchemy of Nine Dimensions that just came out this year. I published it in 2004, but I rewrote Alchemy of Nine Dimensions because I wanted to add Carl Kalaman's information to it. Because as far as I'm concerned, Kalaman's theory describes the ninth dimension in my own system. So my husband Jerry and I have been out teaching people for about 15 years now, teaching people how to access 9 dimensions of consciousness, which involves being conscious in the center of the earth all the way to the galactic center. And so I think another thing that will be happening next year, starting in March, is I think 9 dimensions of consciousness will be opening on the planet. And when that happens, the reason we've been teaching as many people as we could is it's like, you know, when you have a major initiation and you really propel yourself forward. When you have a major initiatic experience, people have a lot of trouble staying balanced. They have a lot of trouble not going into a wobble because it just takes you into an entirely different level of potential, if you know what I mean. And so assuming that 9 dimensions of consciousness are going to open for us, then we've been attempting to teach people how to handle that because it's very, very